All right, so like I said, we're here at American Biker in Charleston, man. If you're in the area, you got to check these guys out, because not only obviously are they authorized Indian dealer, the only one really in this area, but they also have a bunch of used Harleys that they sell. And this one, I was pretty excited to see. This is an Iron 1200. Pretty sure this is a 2019, but that's okay, man. This bike, for all intents and purposes, it's pretty much stock. Looks like the previous owner put a nice comfy passenger setup here with the passenger pillion and of course your sissy bar there, so it looks pretty good. Of course, you have rear adjustable shocks here. I had an Iron 1200, man. That's what this whole channel basically started off of, so I'm super excited to get the 1200 out on the road. Basically have this entire wrinkle black area where some of the Iron 883 had some more chrome accents and stuff. Not a whole lot, but some. Where this one pretty much wrinkle black on top of your rocker covers. You can see your old school paint scheme here from the AMF days. Really, really nice there. Then of course it does come with this windscreen straight from the factory. I kind of had something similar on my 883, and then the mini style ape handlebars, which is really cool. Now this one actually has keyless ignition. All right, so that is great. You do have actually a couple of keys there as well, but I love the keyless ignition, man. It makes it so easy. We can start this up, then of course it would start up. Let me show you the instrumentation. Pretty simple, not too complicated at all, really. Horn, of course. Then we can cycle through. See how many miles? 31,000 on this one. Man, somebody rode the heck. No, 3,128. I didn't see the decimal there. So 3,000 miles, man. That's basically nothing. You got your clock there. You do have your gear, which is pretty cool, and a digital RPM gauge. Not too great there, but it is what it is. Analog speedometer, of course, and that's pretty much it. Your ABS light, of course, it does come with ABS. That's going to blink until you get about 3 miles an hour. Low fuel light only, no gauge, which was one of my complaints. You can see over here, turn signal, start, stop, kill switch, all of that good stuff. And then over here you have your left side turn signal, bar mounted mirrors right there, and a nice looking and pretty comfortable seat for what I would expect somebody to kind of be doing with this bike. So let's gear up, get on the road. You got your chopped fender style, so it's kind of like a bobber, but you know, not really. It's not, kind of bobbed out. There you go. There's a better light without the sun there, man. It looks really good. Here's your air intake right here, of course, wrinkle black. Your push rod covers are still chrome. That's an upgrade that you can do. You can see your 1200 badging there. Swing arm here, bob style. Rear fender, so you have your bullet style turn signals with your side mounted license plate there. And this one comes with the Michelin Scorchers, just like the 883. I'm excited to get on this bike. Let's go ahead and try it out. All right, let's start it up. Man, it's so skinny and just feels good to be back on an Iron, man. So glad American Biker had one of these. This is kind of the natural progression of things. Somebody gets a the all too familiar trying to find neutral. Gotta love it. Now I probably could easily lane split that, but that's a customer's bike. Don't want to do that. This is one thing I love about the Iron 2, man, is just how easy it is to maneuver Gotta get used to these mid controls again. Wow. And used to this light weight. It's so nice. Sometimes it's nice to just ride a nice, easy. Wow. Man, it's got some more. It's got some way more giddy up than that Iron 800. This is great. This is part of the reason I told myself should have gotten Iron 1200. But in my defense, the Iron 1200 was not out just yet when I got that bike. Love the handlebars. That's another complaint I had on the Iron 883. The handlebars just too low for my personal taste. Try to rotate this just a little bit. And I never really liked that. Starting to rain here a little bit too, so this is pretty interesting. Wide open fairing, so it is what it is. Now, one thing I do like about this in particular is that it does keep a little bit more wind off of you, which is fantastic. Super easy to control, and I don't want to make it like an understatement. This bike has some power. It's 60 horsepower on a 500-pound bike. It's no lightweight, but it's not too crazy that you feel like you would get yourself in a whole lot of trouble if maybe you're a returning rider or whatever the case may be there. Now, I rode the Iron 1200, or I rode the Iron 883 in some heavy rain. 3 days after I even got the bike, I was in a downpour going to work on a Saturday, and dude, I was soaking wet the entire day. So I know the bike can handle itself in the rain pretty well. It's just super light, and that's one problem I had with the Iron 883 is getting it up to speed. It just felt like it kind of wanted to move on the road a little bit, and I didn't like that too much. Throttle response seems really good, actually. It's a stock bike with stock pipes, so the sound obviously could be a heck of a lot better. But that's something easily remedied with a set of pipes. Not raining too bad, so that's good. It feels so comfortable on this bike. I love it, man. I love the seating position so much better than the Iron 883. It feels so much more natural. I mean, look at my stance right now. Look at my positioning. Do I look comfortable or what? I'm just leaned back here in this comfy seat with this nice little riser hugging my butt into place, and if I need to get on it, I can. It's not my bike, of course, so I'm gonna respect it like I do with them all, but it's just got good power. And I'm not here to dog on the 883, but that's what I have to compare to. Sometimes it felt like the 883 couldn't get out of its own way in certain situations. Love the placement of the mirrors here. They got a nice solid feel to them. Feel like they're gonna stay in place really well. You have very simple instrumentation, so one thing I made an investment in when I had mine was some headphones and play some music, man, through those headphones. So I like listening to music when I ride. I think it adds to the experience. Shifting the gears and everything feels really nice. This mid position, I'm so used to forward controls now that it's a little bit different. This bike seems like it would be perfect for a set of forward controls. It really seems like, look at this, look at that right there. Doesn't that look more comfortable? I don't know, not too far forward, but it just seems like it's built for that. But one thing I'll say is because you have so much space, check this out, you have so much space here, it's really hard to get your legs in enough to tuck up against the tank. So if that means anything to you, but it still feels super easy to control, and with your feet basically right under you, it gives you a lot of confidence. There's no doubt this bike is I don't know if this bike is really geared towards beginners with it being a 1200, but it's something I feel that a beginner, a responsible beginner, could start on. Not the best starting motorcycle, no doubt, but it's something I feel they could do. It just kind of leans into the turn there, not too hard to ride. It's got a nice overall feel to it, man. I love the biker community. No matter who you are, what you believe, anything, dude, we're all just a family. It's pretty cool. Here's one thing I haven't shown a whole lot of, but that's I'm totally flat-footed on this bike. I don't remember the seat height exactly, but it's pretty low, and that's a great thing for this type of bike. Stock pipes, it kind of has a little bit of a rasp to it, but I've heard some of these things with actual pipes, whatever those pipe, whatever you choose on this. Vance and Hines obviously sound amazing on it, but I've heard this thing with some pipes, dude, and these things sound like a beast, like most of your 1200s really do. They sound really good with a set of just even slip-ons. I love the look, man. I love the blacked out aesthetics. That's one thing that really drove me to this bike. I knew I wanted Harley, I wanted an American made cruiser, and that's why I gravitated towards this. Didn't know a lot about Indian at the time, so maybe that would have swayed my decision, maybe not, I don't really know, because bikes like the Bobber, which are just amazing, that's something you're gonna have to consider. It's something you're gonna have to consider for sure. Taking over little bumps here, not too bad. It's got some giddy up, I do like that about it. Throttle isn't too laggy or anything, it feels pretty much spot on. Definitely getting some vibration and stuff up through the handlebars. That's just an old school Evo engine type of thing, man. It is as old school as you can get in a modern day Harley, really. So you're gonna get that feedback and stuff, but a lot of guys like that, you know. I like it. Sometimes, I mean, I like the smoothness of the new Milwaukee 8. It's super smooth. But I do like to feel some of that feedback and stuff. Kind of makes it seem more old school. You start to get up in the RPMs, of course, you're going to feel some of that vibration in your feet as well. Using the turn signals and stuff, not too hard at all there, of course. I really like the seat, man. It's super comfortable. I like that a lot, actually. Sun's peeking out and going back in, peeking out, going back in. It still is a lovely day here in November. 60 something degrees, 70 degrees actually. It don't get that much better here in the South. I can totally vouch for that. Coming to a stop, the brakes work really well. Of course, it has ABS, which is, in my opinion, super important. I really like having that ABS. These handlebars are fantastic. If this came on the iron, man, I would have liked the iron seating position a heck of a lot better. But like I was saying before, you're gonna have to consider the Indian Scout Bobber. You may be saying, well, why is that? Well, the reason is that because the Indian Scout Bobber, different seating position and stuff, but it's got a similar displacement and 100 horsepower, whereas this one is about 60 horsepower. So it's definitely more peppier. Throttle response is more significant in the Indian, okay? So you might be thinking, well, why the heck? And the pricing is really similar on those both of those bikes as well. So you may be thinking, well, why the heck would anybody go with the Harley then if you get, well, it's one of those things, man. Harley, they make amazing bikes. Indian and Harley make amazing bikes, so it's a tough decision when you get on both of them. This is what I like about American Biker, because you can come up here and you may have your eyes set on an Indian, and then you see something like this and you're like, oh, hold on. Thing gets up to speed really nicely, dude. I love that. This one is still 5 gears in this old gal, and the Indian Bobber is a 6-speed, so better for the highway and just kind of cruising along once you get up to speed. Right now I'm going almost 50. And it's saying I'm pulling about 2,200 RPM, so not too bad. But I really do feel at home on this bike, man. I really do. Sometimes when I get on a new bike, I'm, you know, get a little antsy, and it's just, you know, it's just kind of nervous and excitedness and things. On this one, it was pretty much just all excited because I know what this bike is. I know it very well. Because if you get on an 883 and you jump to something like this, you're gonna know this bike well. I love the tank on this thing, by the way. Love the old school 70s themed. It just looks great. I really love that. Love the blue. I just think it really looks really nice against blacked out pretty much everything. So I also seen that India came out with a Scout 20, so it kind of has these mini apes. It's a bobber style with mini apes, which is super popular right now. So that may be another bike that you want to consider in this lineup if we're just talking American made bikes. My low fuel light is on. Basically what I was getting out of this bike when I had mine was about 100 miles before I felt, you know, started to feel a little uneasy, because you have no gauge. You have no idea really how much gas is in there. So that's just one of those things you'll have to get used to. You gotta know your bike well. Same 3.3 gallon tank. The weight does not feel different really at all. It still feels super lightweight, so I definitely like that. The gearing may be a bit different. I don't know. It doesn't feel like it's as high up in the RPMs going at these speeds. It really doesn't. So who is this bike for? Anybody that's looking for a commuter and a city driving, backroads country driving, bike nights, get-togethers. I wouldn't say touring. I mean, I know there's guys that do it. I know there's guys that do it on an 883s, but that just, it's tough. You can do it, it's tough, and that's not who this bike is really geared towards. Maybe semi-experienced beginner type of riders. Again, it is a lot of power. It's not like this thing is any kind of slouch, so you're going to want to consider that. But it's more forgiving. The 883 is more forgiving than this, but it's more forgiving than a leader bike. I mean, so if we consider that, it may even be more forgiving than the Bobber. Although the Bobber is super easy to drive too, it's got more pep to it, the Bobber does. So this one's a little bit more sluggish when you compare it to that. But otherwise, man, when it comes to just pure old school Harley riding, V-twin, Evo motor, this thing is amazing, man. It's awesome. Absolutely love the seating position on it. I wish they gave you a low level fuel light, not a light, a gauge, a fuel gauge. That would be a great add-on. Maybe even a analog tachometer, but can't get too picky, I guess. This thing will get out of its own way, that's for sure. Absolutely love it. The Iron 1200, so nice to be back on an iron with a little bit more balls. Thank you, and thank you to American Biker. Please make sure you go over and check those guys out. Give them a call, stop by, talk to any one of them, Rob, Rich, they're all fantastic. So thank you to those guys. We'll see you in the next one, and as always, hold the rubber side down.